Close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
And the crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dave Montgomery on the Lions. Former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit. What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to the Only Football Podcast. Tonight, the Chicago Bears unveiled a $5 billion proposal for an enclosed stadium next door to their current home at Soldier Field. Some of us might have thought that they were going to move, I believe, to Arlington. Also, Hendrickson wants to be traded from the Bengals. We're getting some chatter coming from that way. And we also have a little explanation for why Marvin Harrison Jr. decided to skip the workouts. And of course, a mock draft as the G-Men coming up on the Only Football Podcast. Let's get it.
America is football. Football
America is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass. For the moment in time, I'm giving 10. Oh my God!
No!
You love this.
30 to 27.
No!
Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30 to 20.
What is going on? Bill and Ginger in the chat already. I hope you guys are having a good day, good week. The NFL has always kind of had some team that's a couple years away from getting a new stadium, and sometimes these things take a long time. We know Buffalo's been working on theirs for a long time, and we've seen the generated images with the big Buffalo, and man, it just looks pretty sick. They say like a good stadium lasts like 30 to 50 years, something like that. I know that when the Broncos tore down their old stadium, which they called Mile High, they didn't actually they did not do a controlled demolition. Instead, they took it apart piece by piece. A fitting tribute to a stadium that meant too much to Broncos fans to blow up with dynamite. Now, since I'm done making it about the Broncos, I'm just kidding. But seriously, we had the Vikings recently make a stadium, the Rams, the Falcons, the Cowboys. I would still consider recent, even though I think it's been like 12 years. It still feels like it was so advanced at the time it was built that it still feels like it was just built. The Rams come to mind, and the Chargers when you think of the most insane stadium. I'm excited to go to that game this year because I want to see how VR. I've heard it's like wearing VR glasses inside the stadium, and I'm really interested. I'm just seeing some of the newer stadiums that are being built, and you can add the Chicago Bears to that list because the Bears unveiled a nearly $5 billion proposal Wednesday for an enclosed stadium right next door to their current home at Soldier Field. Excuse me. So, like I said, me and Rick had been talking about this last offseason when the Bears bought, I believe, a public land in Arlington. And and many people assumed that since they were purchasing that land, that's where the stadium was going to go. And we hear right off the bat in this article that is on NFL.com that the project would take place right next door to Soldier Field. kind of like how the Broncos built in Mile High, Invesco Field, whatever you want to call it, right next to Mile High. Very similar idea there. The plan calls for $3.2 billion for the new stadium, plus an additional $1.5 billion in infrastructure. The team and the city said that the project would add green and open space while improving access to the city's museum campus and could also include a publicly owned hotel. This is not an easy project, but Chicago doesn't like it easy, Bears president Kevin Warren said. The announcement at Soldier Field comes during a busy week for the Bears. They're expected to take the 2022 Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams with the number 1 pick in the draft tomorrow night. And they're going to bank on that quarterback to solidify a position that has been a sore spot for a very long time for this franchise. So the team said last month it was prepared to provide more than $2 billion in funding toward a publicly owned stadium in the city. The proposal calls for $2.025 billion from the Bears, $300 million from the NFL loan, and $900 million in bonds from the Illinois State Facilities Authority. The funding from the ISFA would involve extending bonds of the existing 2% hotel tax. The Bears said that the project would generate $8 billion in economic impact for the region. It would be built in 3 phases and take up to 5 years. The new stadium would be constructed on a parking lot just south of Soldier Field, the Bears' home since 1971. The team's lease at the 100-year-old stadiums runs through 2033. Mayor Brandon Johnson gave a full-throated endorsement, saying the project is in line with Daniel Burnham's plan of Chicago. He said there would be no tax hikes or new taxes for Chicago residents. That must be a sigh of relief. I know we talked about, I think a couple of weeks ago, Ginger saying that they shouldn't make the city pay for it. And I think right here, he's just coming out saying, don't worry, we're not going to make you guys pay for this. Renderings show that the Bears Stadium would have a translucent roof and a massive glass panels that would bring in sunlight and allow for views of Chicago's framed skyline. The plan is to host major concerts through the years, as well as Super Bowls, Final Fours, and Big Ten championship games. Though Soldier Field's famed colonnades would be preserved. Okay, they're just saying Soldier Field's, I guess, stadium would be preserved. The spaceship-like stadium that was installed in the renovation 2 decades ago would be torn out and replaced by playing fields as well as park space. The plan calls for a pedestrian mall, food and beverage options, so plazas, kind of like a strip outdoor mall area with restaurants and bars, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like, this is never going to be a bad idea, and it's crazy too, because it's kind of like having a high pick in the draft, right? I mean, the Bears are picking Caleb Williams and, the Baker Mayfield and Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow and all these number 1 picks. It's like, how do you mess this up if you're a multi-billionaire? Imagine what they could build in Denver with Rob Walton's money, But some people just are like, is the juice worth the squeeze? And they really wait until it's like, okay, our potential revenue that we could be making is adding up to more than we're actually making, right? But until that happens, I don't think that these billionaires make these type of moves. Like, they came in and they're like, we can update the screen, put some new grass in, update the restaurants and the plazas, and we can go another 10 years with this. We don't need to tear it down. But Soldier Field is one of those fields that has been time to tear down for quite some time. It is very public information that they have the worst field in the NFL. Players like Aaron Rodgers, not aside from the Bears-Packers rivalry, has come out and said it's a really bad field, and other players have agreed with him. Also, you can buy tickets to a Bears game where you are looking at the field and some of it is blocked off by the scoreboard. In my opinion, that's just totally unacceptable. That's what makes the NFL great, is that it's not like going to a college game. But the Bears stadium doesn't feel like you're in an NFL stadium. So yes, I think this would be great for Chicago. It makes me wonder, like, what took so long? And, these things, I guess, take time. But I guess if you're a Chicago fan, or just a fan of the NFL, then you enjoy this type of news. I want all the stadiums to be dope. I always want mine to be the dopest. And it's kind of like when you pay your quarterbacks, whoever does it the latest is going to have the nicest stuff, because the, best technology will always be the next year, the next year, the next year. So in a way, if your team hasn't built a new stadium right now, just keep in mind that by the time your team does, it's at one point going to be the latest and greatest stadium in the NFL. Everybody has to take their turn. And for Chicago, it's been their turn for quite a while. Jinja, wife made some kalabasa and krat, so just got dinner going on. Nice. $5 billion just to watch the Bears. Oh, man, shots fired already. Jinja said, hell yeah, Bill, that sounds killer. I had some beer brats last night myself. No krat, though. Mustard and jalapeno. That sounds awesome. That sounds like everything. Wisconsin is very known for cheese, beer, and especially beer brats. The smell of beer brats. What kind of beer did you boil them in? You got to ask. Bill said, I did like them keeping the columns from Soldier in the new green area. Yeah, you got to keep some type of history. Like that's one thing he said about the uniforms too. He said the Bears will add, but they don't add by subtraction, right? I think this is another example of owners that understand that concept. I talked to an older fellow that was in Vietnam, and he said that they had a memorial thing at Soldier Field when they got home, and hippies were spitting on them and shit. Messed up. Yeah, I mean, this is a very common thing. I remember when I lived in Boulder, there were people that were very anti-American military because of, this is the thing about people that are overly empathetic, is that they're blinded by their empathy, meaning it's like war is messy and there are casualties in war, and that doesn't mean that you're signing off on that. But the reality of it is, and this reminds me of my ex-wife, whose father was a Seventh-day Adventist, very religious, and he believed that it was a sin to work on the Sabbath, even when I was on deployment. And I remember telling him, I'm like, the irony in all of this is that the only reason that you have the freedom to practice your preferenced religion is because of the people that are working on the Sabbath. Like, there are things that, freedom does have a cost. And I think some people in pursuit of world peace don't care about tearing down the people that are actually defending their freedom. So no, I totally can't stand that. It's just like, to me, I see a lot of immaturity in that type of behavior. The Bears, though, brand new stadium coming your way, so I'm excited to get Rick's feedback on that. Now, one thing I didn't put in this article was that Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys met today about a possible return. That you heard me right. Ezekiel Elliott might be going back to Dallas. It might be in the works as we speak. Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys met today. This was reported by Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. There's no deal in place, but the parties are in talks. Oh my gosh, this Zip Fizz. I got this Zip Fizz from Costco. It's got so much carbonation in it. Elliott is coming off a season spent with the New England Patriots, which followed 7 years, 3 Pro Bowls, and 2 rushing titles with the Cowboys. He's still only 28 years old. Crazy. The 28-year-old was released last offseason by the boys and signed in August by the Pats, whom he led with 642 rushing yards last year. And keep in mind, Zeke's last 4 to 5 games, they were actually doing really well with Zeke. He was having multiple touchdowns. I think he was even like a late season waiver wire for a lot of fantasy football players, and he paid off if you took him. Elliott, who averaged 3.5 yards per carry, ran for 3 touchdowns, had 51 receptions, and had an additional 313 yards. It's hardly the bulldozing chain mover he once was, but it's still an intriguing possibility. Elliott, who remains an asset in pass protection and on the goal line, would potentially join a rather barren backfield that currently includes Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and Royce Freeman. The Cowboys took Elliott with the number 4 overall pick in 2016. While the 2024 draft is kicking off Thursday, might a homecoming be in the making? Maybe. But for now, it's just a conversation between old friends. And keep in mind, this might just be a feeler, because just like all the best free agents that haven't been signed right now, including Justin Simmons, you know that they haven't been signed yet, not because they're not playing next year, but because teams want to see if they can meet their needs through the draft. And as soon as that goes, however that goes, then they cross this bridge. You don't do it the other way. It wouldn't make sense. So I think this conversation was like, do you want to come back and play for us? And he's like, I wouldn't be against it. Okay, well, the draft is kicking off, in the next couple days here. Like, there's a couple guys that we have circled, but if the draft doesn't shake that way, we would be interested in you rejoining this backfield. I know that they signed Royce Freeman, but Royce Freeman, we were drafting him out of Oregon, I think like 6 years ago, the Broncos. And he was good with Oregon, but he just never really panned out as that guy. I don't think this late in his career he's going to become that. So we're talking about a depth piece, not any star talent. You know what I mean? This is a depth piece. So I think that the Cowboys reunion with Zeke would make sense. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. Also, the Cowboys and the Broncos both picked up 2 players that were drafted almost next to each other, their 5th-year option. So Micah Parsons had his 5th-year rookie option picked up. It's not an extension, but the Cowboys are ensuring the pass rusher is going to be on the roster beyond 2024. And also Patrick Surtain had the same thing. So for the next 2 seasons, at a minimum, Patrick Surtain will be on the Broncos, because this is Surtain's 4th year, and this is Micah Parsons' 4th year. So they both picked up the 5th-year option, meaning they're going to have this year and next year. And I suspect both teams will end up working out a long-term deal with their stars on defense. These are 2 pieces that you can build a team around. This is what the 5th-year rookie option is for. It's really for these type of players, these all-stars that you need a little bit of time to work out these long-term contracts with. So Micah Parsons and Surtain, both I would expect to sign a long-term deal. Parsons is slated to make $21.324 million with that 5th-year option, and that'll be really cool. Bill said, White Claws do the same to me, Kyle. I never drink them out of the can so I can get some of the bubbles out. True. Are we partying tomorrow night for the draft? Oh, dude, are we partying tomorrow? You know what? I'm going to tease you guys real quick. Just a little tease. Just a little tease. This is all you get, though. Don't ask for anything more. Oh, I'm trying to think which to do. The production has been in the works. I've been working probably 10 hours the last 2 days straight. And will the draft be tomorrow? I'll just do this. I'll show you a sneak peek. That's all you get. That's all you get. Yes, the draft is going to be tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. The production is going to be on the next level. There's a lot of stuff to unveil, but you're going to have to wait till tomorrow. Bill said, just FYI, the Max Crosby show where he had Minshew on was great if you're interested. Definitely would be, keep your enemies closer than your friends. Jen just said, I'll have to check it out. Bill Gardner's pretty cool. And Bill said, I swear Crosby has a palace. Where he did the interview looked great. Dude, that's awesome. I would always say, like that scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he's like, I didn't feel bad for taking their money. I knew how to spend it better. I always feel that way. Like there's nothing worse than one of those like multi-billionaires that's like, I still drive my Toyota because it gets the job done. It's like, dude, give me some of that money. I know I have the taste for the fancier things in life. I think I could spend that money better. You can't take it with you. You know what I mean? You can't take it with you. Some people just aren't wired that way, though. Some people are. And Crosby, I love that side of him, even though I don't like him because he's a Raider. Just the fact that you had New York in the sneak peek is cool. I did it for you, Bill. You tease you. Uh-oh. Okay, so before I get into this mock draft as the Giants, okay, there is going to be a mock draft tonight. As the New York Giants, I promised Bill that it was coming, but we're going to talk about something that might not be good news out of Cincinnati. The defensive end Trey Hendrickson requests trade from Bengals, and the team says it won't move him. Another Bengals added his name to the trade request, and it's Trey Hendrickson. This was reported today. Hendrickson currently has 2 years remaining on his current deal. He's set to make $14.8 million this year and $15.8 next year. But neither year has any guaranteed money attached, and both count more than $18 million against the Bengals cap. Thus, Hendrickson is looking to force Cincy's hand for more security, either through a new deal or a trip to a new team. If the Bengals were to trade him before June 1st, it would cause $7.8 million in dead money with $12.3 million in cap savings. But a post-June 1st trade would mean a dead hit money of $5.2 million, but a cap savings of 15. Okay, so I think it would be unlikely for anything to happen before June 1st. The 29-year-old has been a massive presence for the team signing him in 2021. He spent his first 4 NFL season with the Saints. He was drafted by Sean Payton. He's made a Pro Bowl in every campaign as a Bengal, and thanks to a career-high 17.5 sacks last season, he now has almost 40 through the last 3 years, almost doubling his 20 with the Saints. He definitely has moved himself into the next tier of defensive tackles. Defensive ends. Hendrickson becomes the second high-profile name to request a trade from his team. We talked about T. Higgins earlier this season. He did soften his stance a month later, admitting he anticipates he'll play out in 2024 in the uniform of the team that drafted him, but his desire for added security remains similar to Hendrickson's. Hendrickson's tenacity makes him a natural fit for nearly any team in any scheme, and there's no reason we're going to keep rhyming. No, I'm kidding. There will be interested suitors should the Bengals not find a way to meet his needs. So this is another really good player. We see this all the time, these post-June 1st guys that are not happy with their contract, and most of the time it's because they don't have any guaranteed money attached to it. And Trey Hendrickson can look at last season and be like, dude, I almost got you 20 sacks. You know what I mean? I'm not the guy that you brought in 2 years ago. And this is always a thing where it's like, but do you play out the contract? Because you signed the contract. I mean, what incentive are you giving a team to pay you before you actually show that you're worth it? If once you show that you're worth it, you're going to rip the contract up and ask for more money, right? I couldn't buy Bitcoin in 2012, and then Bitcoin, once it was valued at more money, come back and be like, I'm taking some of your shares away because we are worth a lot more than what you purchased at the time. It's like, that's why it's an investment. That's why I took a financial risk. But I think a lot of times people don't see that side of it. And I do. I see both sides of it. I think it's always good to try to push the envelope and get as much money as you can. But I always keep in mind, that other side to it as well. And we'll see what happens with Hendrickson here. Bengals are going too offensive heavy. Yeah, they drafted quite a few pieces last year on defense as well, but I totally get you. Bill said, I get it. Extend him or trade him. Don't piss off your players with games. I mean, look at what Saquon did to us after the tag thing. He was not happy. Yes, Saquon was not, and we're going to have to address that need in the drafts later. Jin just said, Reader and or Bates needed to be re-signed. Yeah, and I actually, at the combine, I was sitting right next to a Bengals fan, and they just couldn't say, you know how it is. Like, if you've had Peyton Manning on your team, or maybe, I don't know if Eli Manning ever really gave you that same feeling, even though he won 2 Super Bowls, and Aaron Rodgers only won 1 Super Bowl, there was still a different feeling every year as a Packer fan that I don't know if Giants fans necessarily got it. And we've talked about this before. Eli was never that guy. He's not, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, John Elway, Eli Manning. What? Eli Manning? So it's not just about rings, obviously. It's about just the way that, you make the city feel when you're on the field. And there's certain players that just make you feel like you have a chance every single year. And that's what Joe Burrow is for the Bengals. And you got to pay those guys a ton of money, and it does make it hard for you to keep pieces around him. But you got to try your best to keep pieces around him, right? He's already been injured 2 of his 3 seasons. The 1 year that he wasn't hurt, or the 2 years he wasn't hurt, he lost in the AFC Championship game and then lost in the Super Bowl. So Joe Burrow's already shown that, Hendrickson or not, the Bengals are going to be a competitive team, but they're definitely a much better team with Hendrickson on the field, especially when you consider like the AFC Championship game is going to be going probably through Arrowhead. You're going to want Hendrickson to be getting pressure after Mahomes. It's hard to replace a guy like that. And Bill said Eli's still going to be a first-round Hall of Famer. But yeah, he does not have that Burrow killer aspect to him. No, he has more of like a, I don't even know if I can say that. I don't know if it's politically correct. He has a different type of face to him. I'll just leave it at that. I love Eli Manning, though. I love Eli Manning so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for a mock draft. A final mock draft, the last mock draft before the real NFL draft. So I'm going to be doing this mock draft as the New York Giants. Why am I being the New York Giants? Because it's Bill's team. And I promise Bill, and he's been here through and through, especially on my personal channel, watching my mock drafts and stuff like that. So I thought it was only fair to be the Giants for this mock draft. And I've been taking notes. I got the Giants kind of their draft needs written down. Of course, wide receiver, quarterback, defensive back, running back, and I wanted to get a defensive tackle to put on the other side of Burns. I know Ashwan Robinson is gone now, so I wanted to add another defensive tackle to get Burns the help, and adding O-line depth probably in the later rounds is important as well. I'm not convinced that the Giants O-line is a finished product by any stretch. So Saquon Barkley gone. Receivers, we know that it's needed. A lot of mock drafts are picking Malik Neighbors to the Giants. And I'm just going to come right out and say, I don't think that's a good idea. Okay. I don't think it's a good idea to draft Malik Neighbors at number 4. I think that this is one of those wide receiver classes that's so loaded with talent that the value at 6, you could possibly move back and end up with, because the Giants only have 6 picks. So instead of me explaining it, let's just get right into it. And this is the way that I personally thought that they should go about it. So here we go. We are the New York Lovin' Giants. All right. We're going to do 7 rounds. We're going to turn that down. And we're going to keep the randomness pretty low. I want it to be pretty true to the board. And let's go ahead and share this screen. Here we go. All right. And let's see. Is that better? Let's see that. No, that wasn't it. Oh, I screwed it up. Sorry. All right. Anyway, I was trying to see if I could maybe make it look cooler. All right, so the Bears are going to be drafting number 1. Commanders are going 2. Then we got the Patriots at 3. We know quarterback. 4, this is the wild card spot. I expect the Vikings to trade up and to select J.J. McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy falls to 6, but even if he does, I don't know if that would be the move that I would make there at 6, because there might be a team like, for instance, Broncos, Raiders, Vikings that are willing to give you multiple first-round picks, and then we can address some of these needs, and that's what I'm going to start off with. So I'm going to see 6 pick Minnesota Vikings. So they're saying that they would only give me. Let's see. What about Justin Jefferson and number 1? They're saying no. All right, let's just let it fall. All right, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy goes number 3. Drake May is on the board. Oh, Drake May is on the board. So is Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I'm going to see what I can get as far as a trade. Now, this isn't an easy task for anybody, okay? Not at all. To be able to look at these type of talents and turn away, it's not easy. But there are teams that want to trade with me, including the Falcons, right? So the Falcons could give me 8, so I would move back 2 spots. I would assume the Falcons aren't drafting a quarterback because they have Kirk Cousins. I don't think the Titans are drafting a quarterback because they're all in on Levis. So let me see if I can move back and also get the 43rd pick. And I'll give them 107. They give me 74. I'll give them 166 and a 3rd rounder next year. So let's see if this can get approved somehow, some way. Got it. All right. So I am moving back 2 spots. I received I received the 8th, and I also added a 43rd and a 74. I just added 2 picks in the top 10. I did give them a 3rd next year, but let's continue this draft. Joe Alt, Marvin Harrison, and now I can draft Drake May here at number 8. Actually, the Bears aren't. Let's see who wants to move. All right, we got the Minnesota Vikings that want to move up. I'm not doing that. We know what they want, don't we? Right? Drake May. I'm sorry, but if there's a franchise quarterback on the board and you don't have one, you'd be a fool to pass Drake May here. Drake May was selected as the Giants' next quarterback. And with the 8th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Drake May, North Carolina. Woo! Oh, baby. We here. We steer. You in the right direction. All right. Dream scenario, says Bill. I'm glad that I'm winning the hearts of and it's funny. I literally have this all outlined, and this is not how I thought the board would fall. So yeah, my idea kind of is gone. I thought that we would draft not a Bo Nix, maybe a Bo Nix, but I was thinking even like Travis, um, Jordan Travis, Spencer Radler. Like I was already thinking of those kind of guys. But man, I mean, the way this is falling right now, you got to be happy. So let's look at the wide receivers, because looking at the top wide receivers in this draft, like I said, it's a really loaded giraffe. So all right, let's see where we are. We're at Troy Franklin. All right, Troy Franklin, Xavier Legette. All right, he was, God, son of a bitch. I was too busy dicking around. I really wanted to pause the draft and move back up and select him. Oh my God. All right. Well, I mean, Troy Franklin's no scrub. All right. He's still 6'3", 187 pounds. He did really good playing with as the number one receiver for Bo Nix. Trying to see if I can get any more. Man, when you feel a certain way about a player, it's hard to move. It's hard to pivot. All right. There's some running backs. Let's see. Ricky Pearsall is supposed to go around 45. I really like Ricky Pearsall. Jonathan Brooks, the best running back. They're saying the best running back. I want to get Trey Benson as the running back. That's going to put me in a position where I can probably, let's see, where's Trey Benson? He's going to be right here, 75. So here I am at 43. I also have a pick at 47. There's some teams that want to trade up. Let's take a look. Okay, the Bengals want to trade to 49. So then I would be picking at 47 and 49. Let's see what they're willing to give me to jump 6 spots. They'll give me 97. Let's see. How about a third rounder next year? So I would get that third rounder back. I'm gonna go with this. I had to give a third rounder in the very beginning to move back to get Drake May. I'm going to move back 6 spots. I don't really care. The players I want are going to be on the board. I'm looking at Polk and I'm looking at Trey Benson. So I'm going to move back to 49 and get that third rounder back that I used last trade. And it is accepted. Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix. We got a run on tier 2 quarterbacks. And now here we are on the clock. Glad I didn't draft Troy Franklin, because Troy Franklin is actually falling. His ADP was 37. This is quite a fall for somebody that is still in that tier 2. I think you gotta probably make this pick. Let me see. I'm going to look at draftbuzz.com and see where they have him ranked. So, of course, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin right here at number 7. The 7th best wide receiver in this class at 6'2". He is, wow, this guy's pretty good. So let me give you his report. Some of his strengths: consistently increased his production throughout his college career. If you're new here, you know that's a big deal for me. I like to see a player getting better every year, like CJ Stroud did. He boasts elite speed. He ran the 40-yard dash in a 4.35. Consistently leaving defenders behind as a premier deep threat, which is something I wanted to get so they couldn't just try to shut down Jalen Hyatt. Now you got two players on the field with speed. This reminds me of kind of a Tyreek Hill and Waddle type of connection, but without the height, right? This could even be better. He's a fantastic high pointer, which is amazing because there's nothing worse than a big bodied receiver that plays the position passively. This is somebody that is going to go up and high point the ball. He makes challenging catches. Like I'm sold on Troy Franklin. I'm going to go with Troy Franklin here for the New York Giants. Here we go. And with the 47th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Troy Franklin, Oregon. Back on the clock. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't gone anywhere. So Jatavion Sanders is one of the best tight ends, but of course they don't have a need at tight end if Waller can stay healthy. That's a huge if. Brandon Fisk on the board here. This is a player that I think is going to be a Pro Bowler. We had a whole person come in talking about Brandon Fisk. His ADP is at 49. I don't mind drafting him at 49. You might say, oh, it's a little early for that. It's never too early to draft a future Hall of Famer. With the 49th pick in the NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Brandon Fisk, Florida State. All right, so our next pick is at 70. And let's stop right here. Stop right here for a second because Jonathan Brooks and Blake Corum have come off the board, meaning we are about to lose Trey Benson. Trey Benson, I don't think he goes here to the Bills. I don't think he goes to the Lions with their two running back monster. I don't think he goes to the Ravens. I don't think he goes to the Niners. I don't think he goes to the Chiefs. All right, I'm going to try to jump up here at around 65. Yes. Okay. Smart. Okay. So let's see. Who's drafting a running back? I'm picking here, but the Chargers are drafting a running back potentially. Let's see who the Chargers drafted already. They got Malik Neighbors, and they got Max Melton, cornerback. So the Chargers have not addressed that need. I don't trust them. I'm going to try to swap with them. 69 and 70. And in turn, I'll give them... Geez, I don't even want to give them anything. How about you give me 105 as well? Let's just see if we can do this straight up. Let's see. I don't like that I only have 2 more selections. So let's see that third rounder. Let's see if I can turn that third rounder into a 6th rounder. I'll move back one spot, and then I'll pick at 105 and 110, of course, and 74. I like this kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 picks inside of the top 100. I would be happy if this gets approved. Let's see. All right, approved. Now I just need Trey Benson not to be drafted. Everybody hold your breath. Yes! Holy crap. And Bill said, Ben Signett did do a top 30 visit with us, and he is in my top 5 tight ends in this year's draft. So definitely already got him ranked really high. Bill said, Waller's going to be a goner. The divorce news came out, and I doubt he'll be around. I like the Fisk pick. Awesome. All right. Well, here we are at 69. Trey Benson supposed to go around 75. We moved back up to get in front of the Giants to make sure that we drafted this running back. I'm sorry that my conviction is so high on Trey Benson, but I promise We're not going to be wrong about this. And keep in mind, sometimes when you're a fan of a team and you're drafting players from that team, it can be like, are you drafting those players? Keep in mind that Florida State was an undefeated ACC championship football team with a quarterback that wasn't even in the running for the Heisman, meaning there's a lot of talent on a roster to go undefeated with a quarterback that's not Caleb Williams, that's not one of the top quarterbacks in this draft, right? That can only happen when you have a very good team, right? And that Florida State they do have 4 or 5 players that I think are going to be starting on Sundays next year, and Trey Benson's one of them. No surprise here. Saquon Barkley's gone. You need a running back to replace him that can bring the juice and bring the noise back. The Giants need a good running back, and this is a 3-down running back. And with the 69th pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants select Trey Benson, Florida State. And we're back on the clock. Okay, so let's take a look at our draft board real quick. So we did add a receiver. We did add Drake May. We did add a strong defensive tackle to pair to replace Ashwan Robinson. So you're gonna have Burns on one side and Fisk on the other side, along with Thibodeau. This is already a defense that you guys should be really excited about. Okay, I did want to add a guard. I do think the Giants need some help on the interior O-line, so I am looking to get maybe the best guard available or interior lineman. I would like to load up maybe on another receiver. Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame is enticing. Brandon Coleman is a solid pick as well. Let's just look down a little bit. We still are in our top 100. I do like adding. I've drafted Xavier Thomas a couple times. Kyrie Jackson. Here's Renardo Green. Oh, Lord, could you imagine I draft 3 Seminoles? But Renardo Green is going to be a starting cornerback on Sundays. But I'll try to avoid that. But I already drafted an Oregon Duck too. Like, this is just the way it's fallen, I swear. I really don't think Renardo Green should even be on the board at this point. I mean, go look at his film. He literally shut down Malik Neighbors. Look it up. Week 1, Florida State played LSU for the 2nd year in a row. And like, Renardo Green shut down Malik Neighbors. So, like I said, some of these guys just aren't getting the publicity that Ohio State and Alabama get. And I don't know. I don't know why. But it's very helpful when you're drafting. So let's look at the top tackles in this year's draft. So just looking at the offensive line in a whole, you got Joe Alt, in a league of his own, and then you got J.C. Latham and Troy Fontenot and Amarius Mims and Graham Barton, and then Jackson Powers, Tyler Guyton. All right. And here we go. Blake Fisher, the 15th best offensive line in the draft. Blake Fisher, his broad jump was in the 95th percentile. From Indiana, he's dominant force on the football field. He was a 5-star recruit and the number 1 overall recruit in his home state. This guy has always been the guy, right? I love drafting a guy that's always been the guy because it's a mentality that they've had their whole life. He displays impressive agility and technique in drive blocking, leveraging his size to gain an early advantage. Utilizes his considerate length effectively to keep defenders at bay. He excels in both run and pass blocking scenarios. Love the versatility. Excels at mirroring edge rushers, showcasing nimble feet and reactive athleticism to counter speed and finesse moves. I'm loving this pick here for the Giants to add some depth. And Bill says, if you like him that much, go get our guy, Kyle. We lost McKinley this year. And yeah. I'm okay. So I'm picking next at 105. There's no way that Renardo Green's going to be available at 105. I do have 6 teams that want to move. And let's just take a look at the board since it's been pretty true the way it's falling. We have Renardo Green going potentially around 89-ish. If we did move back to like 84, let's see what we could get from let's see, they give me 98. I'll give you 183. All right, I'll give you 183 for another top 100 pick. Oh, I loved that. I loved that pick. All right. They're not going to go that easy. Well, then give me 119. And I'll give you 110. So you give me another top 100 pick, and in turn, I'll move back 9 spots from 110 to 119. But you're giving me another top 100 pick. I like this. Let me see if I can. All right. Don't get greedy. Okay, here we go. Accepted. Perfect. All right. Moving back. Oh, my God. You hate to see it. The Broncos drafted Spencer Rattler. All right. So here we are back on the board. Renardo Green right here at 89. Let's see. Green Bay wants to move back. I think that's when Renardo Green's coming off the board. Will they give me 91 for 105? How about 119? How about 119 and 183 for 88, 91? So I would be getting 88 and 91, and I'd be giving them 119 and 183 and 84, of course. All right. No, Renardo Green. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we learned a valuable lesson. Hey, it's going to happen. That's okay. Kyrie Jackson is a very solid corner. And when you consider the amount of draft capital that we just got to move back and draft a guy that I was looking at drafting at 74, there's no reason to be upset about this. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the defensive back rankings here. So I can give you the profile of this corner. All right. So here we go. We got Renardo Green. Kyrie Jackson is actually ranked pretty high here. Let me see really quick. If I'm not mistaken, unless Renardo Green's on the first page. Renardo Green's not on the first page. According to Draft Buzz, they have Kyrie Jackson at number 14. Let's take a look. All right. His height, he's 6'4". He's in the 99th percentile for his height. His 40-yard dash, he ran a 4.5. That's playable. That's what Renardo Green ran. Kyrie Jackson originated from Dr. Henry Wise High School. He emerged as a distinguished talent early on. He was a 4-star recruit. He boasts excellent length and size for the cornerback position, effectively leveraging his physical attributes in coverage. He exhibits fluid movement and the ability to maintain low pad level, enhancing his transition skills. Outstanding ball tracking ability, excels at locating and contested catches with commendable body control. He's a reliable wrap-up tackler. Demonstrates eagerness to engage physically. Commended for his competitive nature, particularly effective at the catch point with timely intervention. He's proficient in press man coverage. He's good at mirroring wide receivers, displays a high football IQ. He's going to be our guy. So let's go ahead and make the phone call. Hey, Kyrie Jackson. Hey, what's going on, man? This is Brian Dable. Yeah. Yeah, we were just calling to let you know that you're going to be a New York Giant. Oh, what's this? We're back on the clock. All right, so the way this board has fallen, I'm feeling really, really, really good about. All right, so we added help on defense. We have a new quarterback to rebrand this whole team around. We got a stud wide receiver. We got a stud defensive back. And honestly, I'm feeling really good about this. We got Eric All on the board, Cedric Van Pran, Cade Stover. Here's Ben Signett here at 105. You guys had an official visit. Guess who's picking at 105? We are. All right. There are 5 teams that would like to move. Would I move from 90 to 95? Move from 91 to 95. And let's see. Next year I have a 1, a 2, a 4. Let's see. We're in the 3rd round, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. Look, I'm the player. We don't need a running back. All right. Let's look at the edge position. Let me go down a little bit. Malik Washington. Okay. We're going to have a run on tight ends coming up here. All right. It's going to be all of these guys coming off the board. I'm aware of that. And I also want to get a guard. Cooper B out of Kansas State. I'm okay with that draft pick, but at 91, why not see if we could get him at 95 and maybe take some of these. Let's see who else wants to trade. Jacksonville Jaguars. About you give me 153 and 212. I'll move back 5 spots. All right. Cooper BB comes off the board right there. Mason McCormick is another really solid prospect. And there was this one player I really wanted to look at too. Troy Franklin. Wait, I drafted Troy Franklin. Holy crap, guys. I totally forgot that I swear. Look at, do you see where it says Troy Franklin? I literally predestined this when I drafted Troy Franklin. Holy crap. This was all part of the plan. All right. This was all part of the plan. Let's look at these guards. Let's get a little perspective here because I want to add an interior offensive lineman for the New York Giants right now. But I want to make sure we're drafting the right dude. So, all right. Did we draft Blake Fisher? I thought we drafted Blake Fisher already. It's hard to remember. Did we draft Blake Fisher? Can you remind me, Bill? Had a 30 visit with us. I can't remember if I drafted Blake Fisher. I thought I did out of Notre Dame. And I got Fisk instead. Okay, so I still do want to pick up. Look, I'm in the top 100. I can get a solid player right here. Let's see who we got next on the board. Mason McCormick, a guard. Here he is, 21st ranked offensive lineman, period. His vertical jump was in the 99th percentile. His broad jump was in the 98th percentile. His shuttle was in the 94th percentile. His bench was in the 94th percentile. Oh, my goodness. This guy is just a specimen. displayed exceptional athletic testing at the NFL Scouting Combine. He boasts rare durability with 57 consecutive starts. Stop right there. Stop right there. 57 consecutive starts. Hold my... All right, Mason McCormick from South Dakota State. We're not in South Dakota anymore. You're not in Kansas anymore, my friend. Welcome to the big city of New York. Wait, what is this? We're back on the clock? All right, Ben Signett right here, supposed to go at 105. Cade Stover was just drafted. That's fine. The Rams, I could see the Rams making a move like that. You can never draft your guy too high, right? I'm picking at 105. And he's projected to be on the board at 105. But the Panthers need a tight end. Let's take a look and see what the Panthers have done with their draft so far. They have a cornerback. They have a wide receiver. They have a linebacker. And they don't have a first-round pick. Of course, the Bears have it. Okay, so the Carolina Panthers 100% are going to draft Ben Signett. Let's see if I can move back to 100. 114 now. It's okay. Sometimes you just got to draft your guy. Oh, but would they draft Eric All? I think they would draft Eric All. I'm going to roll the dice on this one. And man, Cedric Van Pran is enticing. I love getting depth pieces in the top 100 here. Blake Watson. Braylon Allen's good. Trevondre Sweat. I believe he was the one that was arrested with a DUI. Audric, man, there's a lot of great talent. You got Brandon Rice on the board here. I would like to make a move for him later. Yeah, I mean, man, this is kind of tough because in a way, like, I wouldn't move back to 114, but I could draft Jeremiah Trotter. I haven't heard that the Giants need a linebacker, but I'm looking at their depth chart right now. They got Orkeke. He's really good. Micah McFadden. Of course, Kayvon Thibodeau is not going anywhere. How married are you to Micah McFadden? How married are you to Micah McFadden? And real quick, I'm going to pull up his PFF grade from last season. Here we go. Here's your roster. Micah McFadden. Defense. Micah McFadden, he not that great. 45th out of 82, so totally mediocre. 57 ranking in coverage. Not a very good coverage linebacker. That was his lowest score. Let's take a look and see, because if this linebacker excels in coverage, I might pull the trigger here. So here we go. Jeremiah Trotter is the 6th best linebacker in this draft. His 40-yard dash was in the 79th percentile. His scouting strengths, he's a competitive player. He plays energetically, often overcoming bigger blockers with his top-level motor. He shows good speed and closing burst when blitzing. One of the best coverage linebackers in this draft, has Fred Warner-like traits. All right. Jeremiah Trotter, you're a New York Giant. They did draft Eric All. Let's go, baby. Ben Signett. You're a New York Giant. Pause. Pause. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see something. What if I trade them Daniel Jones for 116? I get my third rounder back next year. Because Drake May's the guy. Honestly, let's just be real. Daniel Jones is not the guy. I think it's more likely, though, that a team that has Anthony Richardson would like to have Daniel Jones in case Richardson gets hurt or doesn't pan out. So let's see. I want 117 and 151. How about the third rounder next year? So you'd have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 2 6s, and a 7. Let's see if I can get a second as well. A second, a third, a fourth, and I'll give you a fifth. Let's see. Can I give you a 7? I'm going to try this. Daniel Jones and a 6th-round pick next year since I have 2 for 117 and a next year 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. All right. Make it a 5th. Oh, come on. 76% chance my ass. All right. All right, there it is. Daniel Jones. So long. We have received the 117 picks, so we've moved our way up to the board. Like, I didn't like the idea of sitting back and waiting for an opportunity to draft at 153. Ursay's looking at that 40 million year contract, was like, no. Yeah, I don't blame you. All right. Let's resume the draft. All right. Giants are on the clock, and we have a lot of options here. We could move back, and we still split the difference. So if we move back 20 spots, we're still 20 spots higher than where we were at 150. Tavondre Sweat is a guy that was supposed to be drafted pretty high. He made a mistake, drinking and driving, and yes, it messed with his draft value. But is this a guy that still has some good football left? Yeah, or left in him, like he's an old guy. But you know what I'm saying. Like, is this a guy that shouldn't fall down the boards? Pro Football Buzz has him ranked as the 10th best linebacker or defensive lineman in the draft. And knock on wood, but it would be nice to have a guy like this. God forbid, Tavon Thibodeau or Burns or Fisk have to miss any time, right? I hope that doesn't happen. Now, this guy would probably be in more for run packages anyway. He's 366 pounds. He's in the 100th percentile. That's really big. He is a classic dominating space-eating run defender. So think of him as just a literal wall that is going to make it difficult for opposing teams to run. He exhibits superior upper body strength, enabling him to engage and disengage from blockers with ease and disrupt defensive lines, efficient at absorbing double teams. Like, you add a guy like this with Fisk and Burns on the other sides, don't forget about Thibodeau. This is going to be this defense is immediately a huge upgrade. Thibodeau was projected to go at like 110. His ADP was at 110, ranked 122. Let's look. I love that we moved in front of the Seahawks because look, they need a linebacker, and or not a linebacker, edge. I don't know if they would go defensive interior here, but Trevondre Sweat. Let's see. The Bears want to move back. I like this idea right here. So the Bears only have 4 picks, so they don't have much to offer, but we could take a 6th-rounder next year and maybe still get, but the Packers, have the Packers drafted a defensive interior yet? Let's take a look. Green Bay Packers, they got a safety. Did they not pick in the 3rd round? Yeah, they did. They got an edge, a safety, and a corner and an edge. I think the Packers have gone pretty heavy on defense. So I think it would be solid. So I mean this is lopsided right now, but if they could give me, man, I just don't feel like that's enough. I don't feel like they're giving me enough. I feel like I'm getting screwed. What about Cole Kmet? No, they don't want to give me a player. Well, you said you wanted to move up. You have nothing to offer me. What about Tampa at 125? They got 125. Not really interested in these picks. Let's see if they would just give me a 5th round. I like this. Getting a 5th rounder next year. Getting a 5th rounder next year to move back. My question though, could I take that 5th rounder and move back up? But then I'm not getting anything of value. So I just don't see the value here, but I just don't want to draft him yet. But it's okay. This is a guy that deserves to be drafted. And let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything. Let me try one more thing with the Bears. Let me try to get the Bears 6th rounder. It might be worth more money than the Dolphins. Don't tell Rick. All right. Oh, awesome. So now, here we go. Tavondre Sweat. We're going to draft him right here. Boom. All right, and now we pick at 153 next. Pause. Let's see. I'll give you 153 and to move up to 130. Yeah, honestly, forget this pick. I'm going to turn this pick straight into this one. I'm willing to get rid of a pick that I got from the Jaguars in the first place just to move up to 130. Let's see if I can wheel and deal this. Give me a 7th next year. Oh, I love that. Do I add Audric? Do I add another running back? I mean, I could end this with a bang. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. This is going to be literally insane because if you look at the running back rankings, there's, of course, your tier 1, and then you get into tier 2, and this is still the top 10 running back in the draft. I saw him at the combine. He was amazing. His hands are in the 93rd percentile. He is a great pass catching back. He has a robust physique, leg strength to break through arm tackles, create his own running lanes. I like having Trey Benson and Austin switching reps. I think he was worth he was worth that 200 pick that I had to throw away to move up. I also got a 7th rounder next year as well. This is going to be how I close the draft in the 4th round. And Bill said here, if Sweat has personal issues, Mara will not let go and take him or show. I'm sorry, I forgot how to say that name. His brother is on the Eagles. I love it. Revenge for Saquon. And there goes Jordan Travis in the 6th round. Only 70 picks remaining. We can take a look. Austin. This is a player I've been looking at. Trey Taylor. We drafted a running back. Looking at what the Broncos are doing. Yeah, I mean, we drafted 7 players in the first 4 rounds. So I feel pretty good about this. And hopefully you do too. Frank Gore Jr. is off the board. Why would the Ravens draft a kicker? That would be like the Chiefs drafting Caleb Williams. Great job. That's a good looking draft. No suggestions available for this draft. Give me some pound for that. I've never even gotten that. All right, so we started off the draft by moving back 2 spots. And what did we get? A 2nd rounder and a 3rd rounder. We ended up giving a 4th and a 5th and a 3rd next year, but we ended up getting that 3rd round pick back anyway. So really, we moved back to 8. We traded 43. We traded 107 for 43, and we traded 166 for 74. We drafted Drake May. We got an A+. We turned around with that 47th pick that belonged to us, and we got Troy Franklin. Okay. Then with the 49th or with the 43rd pick, we traded back to get that 49th pick, but we got our 3rd rounder back that we lost in the beginning. So we moved back 6 spots to get that 3rd rounder back. I love that. And with that pick, we drafted Brandon Fisk, a future Hall of Famer, a starting player, day 1, a top 50 pick. Love this pick. Then when we're on the clock, we ended up, well, it looks like we traded up here. We wanted to get ahead of the Chargers because there was a player we wanted that we were worried they were going to draft. So we gave them 70 and a 3rd rounder in 2025. And in return, we got a 6th rounder next year. And we moved up 1 spot ahead of them, taking 105 and 110 with us, securing 2 more top 110 picks. And next on the board, we draft Trey Benson. The C- could care less what they think. Trey Benson's the best running back in this year's draft. Back, and we get 74. So we traded back again. We were at the 74th pick. We trade back to 84. We also gave them a 4th rounder, that 110. And in return, we got 98 and 119. So love this as well. And then we get Kyrie Jackson, which was ranked as an A-. This was a big need from the Giants. They needed a corner. They got one that can start immediately. Actually, every player that I have drafted so far is going to be immediately on the starting roster, which I think is what the draft should look like. Then we ended up moving back again, right? We gave the Packers 84. We took 88. We gave them 119 and 183 in order to get 91. And then at 96, we take Mason McCormick. We get an A-. And then we gave the Giants 91, or the Jags 91, and moved back to 96. So this is backwards. So this Mason McCormick is the pick that I got from moving back from 91 to 96. Along with moving back to 96, I got a 5th rounder and a 6th rounder. And then at 98, I took Jeremiah Trotter, got an A- on that. 105 took Ben Signett. He's had, as Bill mentioned earlier, he already had a visit, a top 30 visit with the New York Giants. So this makes sense. This is a good fit for the Giants. And then here we give a 4th round pick, 117. Or no, I'm sorry. I always do that. We gave the Colts Daniel Jones for a 4th rounder, a 2nd, and a 4th next year, right? When you draft this guy, you don't need Daniel Jones on the roster. And the Giants have made it clear they're ready to turn the page. And when you draft Drake May, that's what you do. So there we go. We send him to the Colts, and we get number 117. And then we ended up moving back from 117. We gave it to the Bears, and they gave us 122. And they gave us a 6th rounder next year. And at 122, we drafted Tavondre Sweat, who was our guy all along. And then finally, we take our 153, or I'm sorry, we take 53 and our 212, and we move back up to make one final move. Audric Estime from Notre Dame, who I think it's Estimate, actually. But he is a top 10 running back in this year's draft, and he's going to pair nice with Trey Benson in the backfield. Overall draft grade is an A. I earned an award. I don't know what these awards are. 7R. Handshake draft rank, top 31% of New York drafts. That sounds pretty good to me, honestly. I'm not sure, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but I just don't know if there's a better situation that exists than this one right here. I mean, this is immediately a team that's going to come in and be totally different than what they looked like this year. And Bill gives me an applause. So as long as Bill's happy, I'm happy. So I could literally do that all day. I absolutely love the mock drafts. It's always a good time. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be, let me go ahead and download this and post it on X as well. And then Bill, you can retweet it to your Giants social media groups and get the temperature on that. See what they think about it. But Darren Waller's still on the roster. So looking at some of the mock drafts the New York Post had written, I'll share that really quick. The New York Post did an article, the Giants 7-round NFL mock draft. Of course, I'm taking a look at it to see what do they think the Giants need. And man, there's so many ads. Get out of here. All right, so number 1. Okay, so let me do this. Let me pull up my mock draft, and I'm going to have it for comparison right next to the actual one, okay? So here we go. With the first pick, 6th overall, Malik Neighbors was the pick. Now, previously, the Giants picked Rome Odunze or J.J. McCarthy, okay? It is a passing league, right? And we're speculating that the first 3 picks are quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May. Then there's a trade-up, Vikings, Broncos, Raiders into the top 5. Of course, that's not the way the board fell, and we took advantage of it and secured Drake May. Okay, so they had Malik Neighbors. We took Drake May. With the 47th pick, all right, they took Kamari Lassiter, cornerback out of Georgia. We took Troy Franklin, wide receiver, Oregon. And look at this, previous picks, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. So my mock draft was actually on par with this one. This pick fills a huge need for them. Dante Banks had an encouraging rookie year, and he needs a running mate. So Lassiter has good size. So they went corner. We addressed corner a little bit later. We ended up getting a corner that is 6'4", but has excellent body control, physical hands, and just a guy that's going to get a ton of picks, I think. And Bill said, by trading away Daniel Jones in your mock, it also means we get to keep Tommy DeVito. I love it. Look, I knew not to touch Tommy DeVito. I knew you made that very clear. All right. So the Giants pick at 70 overall, Jalen Wright. Okay, but of course, in my mock draft, we picked next at 49. And that of course is a pretty big jump, and we got Brandon Fisk. So let's get to that number 70 overall. Here it is. We actually picked at 69, not 70. And look at that. Trey Benson, Florida State. This was the draft pick that I made. They went with Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. He goes, he would not have taken Saquon Barkley with the number 2 pick in any draft, and this is more in keeping with what he wants at the position. He ran a 4.38. I mean, Trey Benson did too. So we both went same position and even similar running backs, but I like Trey Benson and they like Jalen Wright. There's nothing wrong with that. Round 4, 107, and they addressed their quarterback need with Michael Pratt. All right, well, actually, my next pick between 69 was 88, not 107. And at 88, I got Kyrie Jackson. So we addressed the cornerback position, right? So far, we've pretty much, they addressed quarterback. We did that too. So let's keep going. So then at 166, what was their last pick, we picked Mason McCormick at 96 and Jeremiah Trotter at 98 and Ben Signett at 105, Tavondre Sweat at 122, and ended the draft with Audric Esteem, running back out of Notre Dame. So I had to say all those because we actually didn't end up making it this far down the board. We drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players in the first 4. We drafted 10 players in the top 131. Absolutely incredible. He cost us nothing at UDFA, so keep him as the emergency quarterback. And yeah, hopefully we never have to see him because Drake May is going to be lighting it up. I think Drake May is going to do well in New York. I think he's ready for... Now, he's going to be a project. And this whole team, when you add 8 players in the top 100 of the draft, like, I don't expect this team to fit together and right away start winning games. I could see it being like the Packers, where later in the season, they start getting into the rhythm. I mean, Troy Franklin's never played with Drake May. Trey Benson's never blocked for Drake May. Jeremiah Trotter, Ben Signett's got to learn the game speed. Tavondre Sweat might have to lose some weight. I mean, this team's going to take a little bit of time, but I expect later in the season, Drake May is a project, and they're going to ask him to come in and start right away. So you're going to have to be patient with that. But I do see Drake May turning into, his comp is Josh Allen. And if that's the case, the Giants, this is a draft that's going to change the next 20 years of Giants history. You really are a traitor, Kyle. A traitor, like a traitor in a good way, not like a traitor, like somebody that turns their back on you, traitor, right? Hopefully that was traitor in a good way. So, yeah, that was it. Tomorrow we have the actual NFL draft. I did want to close with this, the 2024 NFL draft sleepers, day 2 standouts and day 3 hidden gems to target. Oh, like Wall Street style. Okay, good. I like that. I like that. So who's going to be the guys that are going to stand out day 2 and day 3? And how do you identify those Kittles in the 5th round, and how do you find them? Reflecting on last year's draft, 8 of the 9 players we flagged as day 2 standouts started at least 7 games as NFL rookies. Jalen Hyatt, DJ Turner, Josh Downs, Darnell Washington, Joe Tippmann, Luke Musgrave, all these guys, these are day 2 standouts. All right. Over the years, this annual breakdown has included day 2 standouts like Jonathan Taylor, Trey McBride, Nico Collins. This is worth looking into. Players in our analysts we organized in Daniel Jeremiah's ranking of the top 150 prospects. Those ranked between 33 and 100 are potential day 2 standouts, while those ranked 101 and beyond are considered day 3 hidden gems. Rashee Rice would be one of those. So Here we go. These are the day 2 standouts. So like I said, the only difference between day 2 standouts and day 3 standouts is day 3 standouts are drafted 101 and below. And we're saying day 2 is going to be between 33 and 64 or whatever. All right. So here we go. Number 1, Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. At just 21 years old, Power Johnson stands out as one of the youngest offensive linemen in this year's draft class. Despite starting just 17 games over 3 seasons at Oregon, Powers Johnson has demonstrated enough skill and consistency on tape to merit an early round consideration. He's currently ranked as the number 2 interior offensive line prospect by Next Gen, trailing only behind Graham Barton. So, yeah, I mean, he might be drafted in the first round towards the end, but if he does go into day 2, he's coming off the board right away. Number 2, Troy Franklin. Boom! Called it. That's why I wrote him down. There was literally like an athleticism freak score. I took a screenshot of it. He scored in the 99th. Here it is. Where is it? Here it is. Oh no, that was Brandon Fisk. Brandon Fisk on his RAS athleticism score scored in the 99th percentile, which is absolutely insane. But Troy Franklin, I thought I took a picture of something about Troy Franklin earlier today. The draft, it all kind of meshes together. But we just drafted Troy Franklin. So really happy to see him on this list. And in a deep wide receiver class, Franklin emerges as a day 2 prospect to keep an eye on thanks to his strong analytics profile. As a 2-year starter in Oregon's prolific offense, Franklin has developed the athletic prowess and dynamic playmaking ability NFL teams highly value. Franklin ran a 4.41 second 40-yard dash. He leapt 39 inches in the vertical jump, had a 10'4" broad jump, and completed the 3-cone drill in 6.9 seconds at nearly 6'2", 176 pounds. He weighed 183 pounds at his pro day, so he did gain a little bit of weight getting into NFL speed. Notably, his top-end speed was 21.82 miles per hour on a go route during his on-field receiver drills in Indianapolis, a speed that was surpassed only by LSU's Brian Thomas Jr., who clocked 22 miles an hour. So this guy is automatically just gonna work. I mean, the athleticism, it's all there. He led the Pac-12 in receiving touchdowns in each of the last 2 seasons, so the production is there. Last season alone, Franklin set an Oregon single-season record of receptions, 81, and receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, and 100-yard receiving games, 8. His NGS production score of 88 ranks 4th out of the 2024 receiver class, trailing only Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Rome Odunze. Simply put, this is a guy that would be drafted as the top wide receiver in any other draft class that's not one of the best wide receiver classes maybe of all time coming in right now. Troy Franklin, 21 years old. This is a solid guy. All right, number 3. I got to show you guys this. I have to show you. You guys are never going to believe this. By the way, I swear I did not look at this article. I just clicked it for the first time right now. Look at this. Brandon Fisk, Troy Frank, everybody I just drafted. No player may have capitalized on the offseason process more effectively than Fisk. Originally a standout from Western Michigan, the defensive tackle was highly sought after in the transfer portal just a year ago. His sole season at Florida State as a 6-year senior, he earned second-team All-ACC honors, amassing 43 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, and 6 sacks. So a lot of people know that the best edge in this draft, you got Turner out of Alabama, but then you have the Florida State, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, the Florida State edge rusher. He's the second best in this year's draft by most people, but everybody that's close to Florida State says that it's because of Fisk that he opened up all those opportunities, just like he's going to do now for Thibodeau and in Burns. So anyway, he is only he is 24 years old, which people have a problem with. Who cares? Fisk's momentum continued at the Senior Bowl, where he was named the top defensive lineman on the American roster by his teams. Following a strong week of practices, his performance at the Combine further distinguished his ascension. Fisk became the first defensive tackle since Tank Johnson in 2004 to lead his position group in the 40-yard dash, vertical jump, and the broad jump. Fisk also recorded the fastest speeds in the pass rush drill. Hoop drill, he ran 16.7 miles per hour in the pass rush drill. In the hoop drill, he ran 15 miles an hour. Front start wave drill, 16, and body control, 17 miles per hour. Notably, his 21 mile per hour top speed in the 40 made him the only defensive tackle to surpass the 20 mile per hour threshold in the past 2 years. While his age might be seen as a drawback, no, it's not. Fisk has proven that his maturity present at valuable opportunity for NFL teams. For franchises seeking a reliable and immediate contributor along the defensive line, day 2, Brandon Fisk stands out as an ideal candidate. And we did it. And we did it. Oh, look at this. Peyton Wilson. We just talked about him 2 days ago. NC State, one of the best strength and conditioning programs in the country. Peyton Wilson is somebody that is going to be really good, and he's dealt with injuries throughout his college career, but so did TJ Watt. And, TJ Watt was selected 31st, almost a day 2 guy. I think Peyton Wilson is going to be drafted at the very end of the first round, but we'll see. Wilson's draft profile is undeniably compelling. Highlighted by an exceptional combination of physical traits, on field accolades, and noteworthy leadership qualities. He's the recipient of the 2023 Bednarik and Butkus Award, honors bestowed upon the nation's top defensive player and linebacker. Respectively, Wilson demonstrated at the Combine why he's more than just a decorated collegiate athlete. At just under 6'4", 233 pounds, he ran a 4.43, the fastest among the 2024 linebacker class. His athleticism was further showcased at his pro day, where he excelled in agility drills, recording elite times in the short shuttle and the 3-cone drill as well. These workouts earned him an athleticism score of 86, the second highest among linebackers in the 2024 class, behind only Temple linebacker Jordan Magee, who we'll get into in a minute. Despite his impressive athletic credentials, Wilson's path to the NFL will be challenged by an extensive injury history, including multiple surgeries on his right knee and both shoulders since high school. For NFL teams willing to look past his health history, Wilson presents the upside of a versatile 3-down linebacker who could also serve as a team leader and potential green dot signal caller. His proficiency on special teams only adds to his overall value. I'm just going to be real. If this guy's injured that much, I'd probably keep him on special teams, because he looks like, if he can stay healthy, he could be a really big difference maker for somebody. More names than know in the day 2 range: Ben Sinnott, Jatavion Sanders, Trey Benson, basically everybody that we drafted in our mock draft. Jalen Polk and Devontae Walker out of North Carolina, wide receiver. Day 3 sleepers: Brandon Coleman, Tanar Bodolani, Jordan Magee, who had the best athleticism score. The number 1 athlete in the 2024 linebacker class is Jordan Magee out of Temple. He posted elite numbers across the board in every category. And every workout he participated in. At 6'1", 228 pounds, he ran a 4.5 second 40 while also posting a 35.5-inch vertical and a 10'4" broad jump on his way to a stellar Combine performance. Magee added a blazing 4.16 second short shuttle and a 6.9 second 3-cone drill at his pro day, cementing his status as a blue chip athlete. A 3-year starter at Temple, he accumulated 33 starts across 44 career games. McGee was named team captain and redshirt junior and senior. Back-to-back seasons of 80-plus tackles, coupled with extensive special teams experience, puts McGee squarely on the board as an intriguing early day 3 selection. McGee's potential draft position might have been even higher if not for a bicep injury that prematurely ended his redshirt senior season. Despite this setback, his proven performance and athletic prowess make him a compelling prospect with the underlying potential to be a day 2 standout. Isaac Guernardo. I love this running back out of Louisville. I think he's going to be really good. This is my version of last year's Devon Achane, who I was really high on. This is going to be that guy next year. Day 3 of the NFL is often where strategic gambles on high potential athletes can result in significant payoffs. Guernardo is a prime example of such an opportunity. Despite a modest college production score of 64 across 41 career games, 1 start at Wisconsin and Louisville, Guernardo's exceptional physical traits position him as one of the most intriguing later-round prospects. He recorded the fastest 40-yard speed at 4.33. He had the highest top speed, 24.8 miles per hour, per NGS Combine tracking data among participating running backs at the Combine. To contextualize Guernardo's impressive speed relative to his weight of, oh my gosh, I did not even read this, I swear. To contextualize Guernardo's impressive speed relative to his weight of 221 pounds, consider that Miami Dolphins running back Devon Achane reached 24 miles an hour at 188 pounds. This was my comparison, and he ran 24 miles an hour at 188 pounds. Guernardo's doing it at 221 pounds. He's running with an extra 40 pounds nearly, and he's hitting the same speed. Guernardo's athletic prowess is not limited to his speed. He had a 41.5-inch vertical leap, a 10'9" broad jump, and a 4.15-second short shuttle are testaments to his athletic ability, all which contributed to him earning a perfect 99 athleticism score. Historically, running backs with a 99 athleticism rating have been a strong correlation with success. 3 of the 4 backs, guess what? Saquon Barkley, Elijah Mitchell, and Chris Johnson. Guernardo's skills as a kick returner add another layer to his draft appeal, and especially if you're going to draft him day 3. You can put a day 3 guy at punt return. With the rule changes expected to increase the number of kick returns, his skills in that area only increase his potential value. I love this pick. Whoever gets Isaac, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but Guerrendo, this guy is absolutely insane. And Bill said that's funny. Hyatt, by the way, hit 24.29 in his 40 at the Combine last year. But this is a running back. And I mean, you can't, I mean, Hyatt's not 220 pounds, is he? I thought Hyatt was like a 180 guy. Let me see. Jalen Hyatt weight. Yeah, he's 185. I'm telling you, running 24 miles an hour at 220 pounds as a running back, this guy is going to be amazing in the NFL. He's going to work. He's too athletic to not. So, yeah, those are the guys to, and honestly, if you've been keeping up with the draft, you're not thinking, oh, who's that guy? Everybody I just said is probably stood out to you. Isaac Guernardo, Jordan McGee, Brandon Coleman, Peyton Willis out of NC State, Brandon Fisk, Troy Franklin, and Jackson Powers Johnson. These are all going to be really good players next year, I think. And yeah, I mean, you just can't do wrong with any of them. So I'm really hoping, and I'm going to do this one last, this is going to be a very fast version of this. I'm not going to take a long time with this, but I just want to see something really quick. I'm going to turn it up to turbo here. And I want to show everybody what I think would make sense here. So if I were the Broncos drafting with the number 12 spot, I don't think I would jump the board to try to get a quarterback here. So let's see. Boom. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. So Drake May comes off the board here. And then in this scenario, the Giants have J.J. McCarthy. In my last mock draft, the Patriots selected J.J. McCarthy. And the Giants, who I was drafting as, I had the opportunity to actually trade from 6 to 8 and then draft Drake May. All right. So in this situation, let's see. If they could move back to like 18 and be able to pick up 49 and 80, and we could give them, let's see, we could give them 136 and 145. What about 97? We'll give you 121 and 76. How about this? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So would you do this trade? Would you give 12 and 76, 121, 136, 145 for 18, 49, 80? So really, we exchange 76 for 80. We exchange 121 for 97, and we give 136 and 145. But we get a second round pick, which we don't have. And we could probably get that 115 back and even 149, 194. Let's see if let's just take their whole draft. Let's see. Okay. Let's try that. Damn. No attempts remaining. Now I have to draft a player. Son of a bitch. Well, nope, they won't let me. All right. Well, in this case, I guess I would draft Terrion Arnold. Let's see. Cooper DeJean. I'm going to draft Terrion Arnold to pair with Surtain. Why not? And then stop. Ooh, I didn't stop it fast enough. All right, so I stopped it. Here I pick at 76. Man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a boring draft for us. I'll give you 136. Let's see, 147. US 141. Let's see. Would I move 76 for? I was just trying to move up a little bit. Maybe I could give them, and then they could give me 142. What about 240? Give me 240. Fine. Ah, son of a bitch. I didn't even get it. All right. Back on the clock here. Ooh, Trey Benson. I like Trey Benson here. Yeah, I guess we go Trey Benson. No matter what I do, they're going to be like, man, I've had much better mock drafts than this. But the much better ones are pretty time consuming. So I just wanted to real quick blast through this one. And then Trevondre Sweat, I think, is a good piece for our defense. And back on the board, we got, I like this pick right here, Malik Mustafa, one of the most athletic players in this year's draft. Will Shipley, and we got Luke McCaffrey, his brother. Don't really need a wide receiver at this point. I mean, you can make an argument that we do. Jaheim Bell is my favorite tight end in this draft. Let's see if I can move back and get Jaheim Bell. But let's see what they would be willing to give me. A 6th and a 7th. 243, and I'll give you 256. So I turn my 256 into a 243, get some picks next year, move back to 156, and hopefully get my guy. Resume draft. Here I am on the board, and Jaheim Bell is here. Trade. Let's see. Would 150, would they be interested in that? Would they give me 168 for 207 and 243 and one of the sevenths I got from Cleveland? Deal. All right, so now I'm on the clock, and let's see. This is the 5th round, so we're past our day 3, guys. Jaheim Bell. Let's see. Will Shipley, I already addressed that. I'm going to get McCaffrey here. Luke McCaffrey. Boom. Oh, Jaheim Bell goes. Jaheim Bell goes to the Bengals. You hate to see it. You truly hate to see it. And Bill said right here, I purposely sat out doing any mocks and stuff this year, so I appreciate you doing it. No problem, Bill. If Penix is your guy, yeah, make the trade. Just make sure you have a good right tackle for the lefty. That's a good point. And we do. We have Mike McGlinchey there. So we're solid. Let's take a look. I would like to get Jordan Travis here. We'll get Jordan Travis back on the clock at 156. We got Terrion Arnold. We got a good. Let's see. We could add a tackle. Jordan. Ooh. Okay. Oh, Kalen King. I've liked a lot of what I've seen from him. Nobody wants to trade back. I could probably get King next. Let's add a tackle. Let's add Christian Jones. And coming back on the board here to close it out, we'll add a nickel corner to go along. So I've done a lot of Broncos mock draft. None have I done that bad. I swear. I normally move back. You can ask Bill. Denver Broncos, you drafted Terrion Arnold. You should have drafted Quinion Mitchell. See, I didn't even get any tips from my Giants mock draft. Overall grade here is a B. Terrion Arnold, Trey Benson, Tavondre, Luke McCaffrey, Jordan Travis to compete for the starting job, Christian Jones, Kalen King. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset. Honestly, if this was our draft, as much as I just flew through it, I would not be upset. So tomorrow's the big day, all right? And tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. And if you're joining us right now, let me just tell you, tomorrow is going to be a day where if you don't have cable, you can watch the draft with us, whether it's Roger Goodell being booed or going to a commercial break, coming back for a commercial break. If there's a trade that happens, we have everything set up to make you feel like you're watching the draft at home. If the Giants are on the clock and the pick is in, it's going to look like this. This is going to be our best draft we've ever had here at the Only Football. So definitely watch it with us. We have the breakdown analysts on every player. We've got everything that you guys need to feel like you are watching the draft on television. So please, if you guys enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. It helps us a ton, helps the algorithm. Please tell everybody about it that you know that likes football. And if you have any feedback on the draft or anything that we've discussed tonight, please put it in the comments. I will respond to each and every comment that you guys post. So thank you guys for your time. I know you could spend it a lot of places, so I appreciate you spending it here with me. And you can follow me at NFL with Kyle on Twitter. my Twitter's been doing some things lately. I have one tweet that got 28,000 views and 300 likes. I just created a Twitter not too long ago, so it's still like my first time having a tweet or an X blow up, whatever. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. So definitely give me a follow on there. And if you guys don't have anywhere to watch the game tomorrow, watch it right here with the draft tomorrow. Bill said, I've got enough turns for tomorrow's indigestion. Don't forget to post up that image of the draft. Totally. I'm going to do that right now. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what your Giants fans think of it. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. So, thank you so much for watching. And until tomorrow, when the whole NFL changes, I'll see you then.